Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Central Virginia fishing report with Ethan Martin at TaleTellers Fly Shop. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing great today. How you doing today?
Just trying to stay out of trouble. How's everything in your neck of the woods? Did you get washed away last week?
It wasn't as bad, I think, as what we were expecting, but it definitely did rain for like 2 days straight. So some of the rivers, the bigger ones, get affected by that more. Even some of the little smaller streams were rolling pretty good on Monday, but my expectation is that by the weekend everything should be fishing pretty decent. The James might still have some color to it, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It should be interesting. You're always going to be fighting this time of the year, the leaves and all that stuff that's dumping into the rivers or little tiny streams, all that stuff. So it's an interesting season. Everything's transitioning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I took a look at your weather, and it looks like you're got pretty seasonable temperatures. Maybe you're going to get a little bit more rain in the next week to 10 days. But what are you seeing on the smallmouth front and on the trout front?
Yeah, the smallmouth are definitely transitioning into sort of the fall bite, if you will. So like the fishing has been okay. It's mainly streamers. I waded, a couple of times last week just in downtown. We caught quite a few. The numbers weren't like crazy, but for 2 hours of fishing, if you can catch 4 or 5 fish just wading, I'm pretty happy with that. Mainly it was lines that are either sink tip or intermediate, and using crayfish patterns, caught a couple on those, and then game changers, caught quite a few on game changers throughout the week. So it was kind of a good spread. I used those little, they're newer. It's the like bugger game changer thing. So I don't know if they think it's Helgermite or what they think it is, but a lot of the fish that we did end up catching were on that little thing. And basically just like casting up and swinging it out. And we didn't find a ton of the fish just like in the very heads of riffles. Everything's kind of like moving back and into some more like slower moving water. So they're not like, feeding like mad, but if you can put it in their face, they'll inhale that thing.
Got it. And what are you seeing on the trout front?
So the small stream stuff, I've been going up for a couple weeks just trying to get, photos of spawning fish. Haven't seen any fish spawning yet on the small streams. Though that should be here soon. And the same sort of thing that I said earlier, you're going to be constantly watching for the leaves changing, because that's going to put a lot of fallen leaves in the river, which can be really annoying, especially if you're new, casting in between that, especially like windy days. But fish are eating. It's not usually fall is a little weird, like right about now, because a lot of those fish, they, depending on the day, it's like you don't even find them, like you're wondering where are they at. And they're there. They're just typically deeper. You can use the tractor patterns to try and draw them out, or like stoneflies, in smaller sizes. And I don't know if they think that's a crayfish or, if they're actually eating it as a stonefly, but those have been working. The greeny weenie has kind of gone by the wayside now. That was kind of one of our staple patterns there for the past probably 2 months. But they're definitely not chewing that thing as much as they have been. And then the dry fly game is starting to slow down as well on the brook trout. So it's kind of, just one of those transition times. As we get like cold fronts coming through, the fishing typically will shut down, and fish are going to respond negatively. So it's mainly just, get a fly right in front of that thing's face and hope that the day you're there, they want to eat.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing I would add, in terms of wading stuff, because I've had this happen to me a couple times, is, if you're not really familiar with where you're fishing, if you see a bunch of leaves, you might want to take a stick or a wading staff and see how deep they are.
Yeah, I took a good tumble yesterday, and I was just hiking up the stream. And but the other thing I will say is the state has started stocking trout in our area. So if you are one of the guys that likes to chase the stocking truck, I know they have put quite a few fish in some of our local waters. Now, of course, who's to say that they're still there after 2 weeks? But they have started doing that, and we do have good flows to where the fish aren't going to be just cooped up in one pool for too long. They'll be able to spread out. So, if you're fishing with stocked fish, it's kind of a different game because they're stocked fish that are used to being pellet fed every day, and they will very happily eat, more softer style nymphs, and they're a little more aggressive. So, like egg patterns, mop flies, squirmy worms, that sort of stuff. You'll be able to find some fish doing that method as well. So if you do want to catch stockfish, then this would be, a decent, acceptable time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, we love questions at the Articulate Fly. You can send them to us by email or shoot them to us on our Facebook or Instagram page. If we use your question, I'll send you some Articulate Fly swag, and you'll get into a drawing for some really cool stuff from the shop at the end of the season. And before I let you hop, Ethan, why don't you let folks know where they can find you, shop hours, and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so you can find us. Our physical location is in downtown Lynchburg, Virginia, and we're on 920 Commerce Street. And if you can't make it to the shop, then you can always just find us online at TaleTellersVA.com. We're pretty active there, and pretty much everything that's in the shop is up and online. And then if you're looking for more like basic info, that sort of thing, then you can find us on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and you can find some more just of the generic information around the shop. And you can also always give us a call, because I like talking a good bit, so it's always fun when people give me a good call.
There you go. And folks, it's a great time of the year to get out and get on the water. And, come January or February, you're going to really regret that you didn't fish more in October and November. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ethan.
Tight lines.